Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. We're continuing a long-standing series today by talking about what stunt did your D&D players pull that completely derailed the campaign, Part 7. Midway through a short homebrew campaign in which we were meant to recover a stolen helm of brilliance, our party had to go through a cave filled with spiders. Just before entering, I have a chitty chat with our wizard. I played a druid. I then asked if the spider webs were flammable. The DM makes a roll, shrugs, and says we have to get some roll to burn the webs anyway. The wizard makes a gentle breeze, and I cast my fire spell and whoomph! There it is, goes the spider webs. Then the DM rolls some more, and writes, and rolls, and writes some more. Now, after more rolling and writing, he sits there in this, my dice just flipped me off sort of manner. Then he groans and face palms and says, "You enter the cave." We go into the cave. Every single enemy that we were meant to struggle against is now burnt to a crisp. Swarms of things that go nip, nip, nip on our skin with a chance of poison, reduced to things that go crunch beneath our feet with a chance of stink. The big spiders meant as more serious encounters. Toast. 4 Ettercap guards are reduced to charcoalized meat. Our path to the final chamber is completely unimpeded, and we soon reach the big bad, the dreadlord of these caves, the final boss. Something that this narrator fears with all pain. A Drider, surrounded by his pets, with all his magic powders and potions and etc., wearing the helm of brilliance that he stole. Or more specifically, we came up to what's left of him. No, the spider webs in his lair also caught fire, as did his powders and some of his more entertaining potions. And did I mention he was supposed to be wearing a helm of brilliance? I'm sure I mentioned the Helm of Brilliance that we were supposed to retrieve because he'd been wearing a Helm of Brilliance, which failed its save. What this means is that all the fire-based spells stored in it go off all at once, and the helm is ruined. I kind of felt sorry for our DM, as did the other players, since this kid really did try to make it fun for us, only for the whole second part of the campaign to go down in flames and up in smoke, quite literally. One of our party members looked at the DM, who was looking rather glum, and says, "Think we can replace it and not have our patron notice the switch?" The DM lights up. He sends us on a mini-quest after mini-quest to gather enough gems. We get a couple of mini-quests to gather the right metals. The wizard who can do the enchantment will not accept mere gold. We have to do favors for her, plus payment, more mini-quests. By the time we had the new Helm of Brilliance ready, we'd been playing this homebrew campaign for longer than the original would have ever been. And that is a great set of people that you're playing with because, man, they worked with the DM to make something beautiful happen. Good on you. Homebrew campaign I spent a few months on. My players destroyed the plot in the first 15 minutes of the first session. One of my players was a vampire bounty hunter and decided it's only fitting to kill a first NPC she finds alone. Seconds later, the NPC who was supposed to be the introduction to the lore and the big bad evil guy's loyal minion got killed. I had to write another plot, this time with an immortal leading NPC. Still, the original plot is happening, so they will eventually see the outcome. Worst case scenario, they can't stop it. Now, I left them clues about the old plot, so it could be continued before the new leading NPC appeared, but they weren't interested anymore and went with the new plot. In college, I played a system called Dark Conspiracy. Think of it as a dystopian real world, but all creatures of legend actually exist after aliens broke a dimensional portal open on the moon. Our party consisted of my character, a human ex-SAS trooper who is now a professional merc. My sister's a renegade darkling. Her character looked human, but every part of her body could become a weapon in one way or another, and she had rebelled against her creator, a massive demon. And then we had the DM's character, which was basically a T-800. We were hired as agents of one of the US government's alphabet agencies to investigate and fight back against the invasion of darklings and monsters. Think MIB crossed with, you guessed it, X-Files. I tended to cause minor derailments all the time, mainly because my character was, well, for all intents and purposes, the equivalent of a barbarian with a gun who tended to shoot first and ask questions later. My biggest derailment? I shot the big bad alien cult leader with an anti-tank rifle that was loaded with alien-derived ammo. Oh, I wasn't aiming at the big bad, no, but the round went through a combat robot, 2 cyborg guards, and a wall before headshotting the hiding cult leader who had been trying to recruit us over a Tannoy of all things. Not a super huge derailment, of course, but other than I removed the last 40 minutes of the campaign due to my love for overpowered and insane guns. DM's fault for letting me steal one from a government armory, to be honest. Yeah, let's blame the DM for the fact that you are a barbarian with a BFG. Not a complete derailment, but a friend made our DM scramble within 10 minutes of our first session. We all had gotten letters asking us to come to a tavern. There was the barkeep, and a couple of tables had 3 or 4 people at them. The barkeep came over, took our orders, and slid us a note. Our very trusting monk picks it up and reads it for everyone at the table to hear. The 4 guys sitting at the table next to you are trying to kill me. After I give you your drinks, I will wait 2 minutes and slip out back. Please follow quietly and help me dispatch them. Everyone in the tavern heard that, and there was just a moment of dead silence before the barkeep went, "Well, fuck, try to keep up," and bolted out of the tavern. The 4 guys scrambled up after him, and we took only a beat to run after them. Thankfully, we caught up and dispatched them, and he explained the plot. But from then on, whenever the monk was handed something, he would ask, "Should I read this to myself first?" Even if it was covertly handed to him. So, still kind of defeated the purpose, but hey, he was trying. TLDR. Dwarf Wizard says, screw this! Kills the party and the boss with a root? Player here. We were mercenaries in D&D 3.5, Meat Grinder campaign, and we all had spare characters. This should hopefully absolve me of the absolutely dickish stunt I pulled. Never! No absolution! The boss fight took place at the top of a really tall building. Having been the only survivor of last session's nigh TPK, my dwarf wizard decided not to take chances when the next boss fight went poorly. While the other players decided to stay and finish the job, I found the load-bearing walls for the upper floors and set an empowered delayed blast fireball before jumping out of the window. We'd all been given rings of featherfall for the mission, and this was a really tall building. The resulting collapse killed the target, his minions, and everyone in the party except for one very lucky rogue. We went from mercenaries to fugitives very quickly. Also, was this sort of a Die Hard-esque themed game? Because I can kind of picture Nakatomi Plaza getting railed by this. Okay, technically this was me being persuaded by the roll of the dice, but the players had influence. Here's some context. The party finds that a wagon they had been waiting for had been ambushed by some bandits, with a kobold being amongst the bandits. After finding the bandits in an old royal mine and defeating them, it turns out that the kobold had made a deal to take half the food and the bandits kept the rest to sell. This wouldn't be too much of a problem if it wasn't for the fact that a magic item on the list was a mysterious bag of beans that he had taken. After drawing the kobold back via the bard, accidentally acting as a wingman, we find that he gave it to the very kobold that they'd wooed. While chasing down to the village, they'd find the kobold walking away from some plant pots holding some greenish tomatoes. All of them failed the perspective roll to notice the mound of dirt in the soil. After catching up to the girl in the village, we find out that she planted one of the magic beans next to the tomatoes. Before they could get back and prevent its magical properties, it grows. Now here's the off-the-rails part. I quickly roll to determine if it grows, and a nat 20 makes it definite. Then I roll a D100 while saying what I'm doing out loud. One of the players pipes up telling me to use their D100 because it was the D100 ball thing. all as I roll the dice. I decide, screw it, sure, I can have them pick which result they want. They wanted the result of the ball. So instead of a blue campfire spawning in the tomatoes, meaning a bit of fire, they got the pyramid, and now are making their way through it to kill the mummies inside. I wouldn't say that's a derailment, I'd say that's an awesome adventure. We played Dragon of Icespire Peak, and the whole point of the campaign was to help this town. We forced our way into the town hall, embarrassed the town master by intimidating him, and, well, rolling to make him shit his pants, and succeeding. I, a rogue vampire, turned into a bat and followed someone upstairs to see if they had any healing potions, with my full focus on finding this character's healing potions that they said they make. I have an awkward interaction with her while searching the room and convince her the bat she saw flying around was actually a rat, and I was there to get it. In the meantime, our barbarians stole from the kitchen, and our paladin stole all the town's money and forced the town master out of his bed and slept in it. That's not very paladin of you. I think we fucked it on session 2 and the DM refused to continue the campaign. Yeah, that is not a paladin thing to do. After all the stuff you guys did, I'm just focused on the paladin getting stripped from his god. I knew it'd happen in my campaign eventually. I wasn't expecting it to happen in the second session. For the inciting incident, the party collected dubiously magical jewels from a dead wizard who was clearly trying to hide them, and were supposed to deliver them to an apprentice due to a note found sort of like a last will and testament, sparking off a murder mystery of why the wizard was found dead protecting these jewels, with the apprentice being an obvious but obnoxious red herring. The jewels were more of a blood money kind of situation, and just enchanted to disrupt any divination magic in their vicinity. But being the identifying MacGuffin that was going to lead the party to the underground black market eroding the kingdom, typical economic political subterfuge plot. The party is either neutral or chaotic alignment, a lawful neutral, 2 chaotic good, and 1 chaotic neutral, if memory serves correct. But there's been some unexpectedly funny statements when conflict between them arises. They've been working together surprisingly well when they get into a pickle, though. But in the second session, the party gave away these identifying jewels to a homeless guy in the first town before leaving to find the apprentice. The same jewels that were going to be their in to the secret sector, and cannot be magically found, effectively locking them out of finding the conspiracy plot within the first couple hours of the adventure. I had to call for a 10-minute break to brainstorm how to get them back on track, and after throwing out half the intended story, damn that's a lot, I decided to have the homeless guy return much later as a mob boss. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, tell us in the comments below about what kind of stunt you, yes you the listener, have pulled to completely derail and screw a campaign. We love you all, please be safe, be happy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.